Top 10 Worst Valentine's Day Breakups. Really messy. Valentine's Day should be a period of affection. Couples overall give grace and love to their accomplices through gifts, encounters, and extraordinary treatment. It tends to be a truly upbeat and invigorating time for individuals in a new or serious relationship. Sadly, it isn't all roses, welcoming cards, shower bombs, and chocolate. Now and then, Valentine's Day can prompt sensations of desire, upsetting acknowledge, and even separations because of high expectations. From miscreants and mistaken assumptions to just terrible accomplices. Cupid's bolt isn't generally on track for these Valentine's Day couples. Keep perusing underneath to travel with us through the main 10 most exceedingly awful Valentine's Day separations. 10 Bag the winner. As indicated by Pedestrian TV. Lola was 18 at the hour of this story. She was dating a person who she just idea was alluring to such an extent that she was practically sitting tight for him to casually dump me, and he did. When Lola requested greater clearness, this very appealing person didn't just apparition her. All things being equal, he advised her to come to his home, and he would clarify what is going on. Lola trusted this beguiling youthful individual, as sentimental people like to do. She went to his home to have a developed discussion and realize where things turned out badly. Tragically, when she showed up, he was not there. All things considered. Outside of his home, he left every last bit of her possessions. They were totally put together into a Ziploc sack. Talk about a harsh method for spending an occasion that should be about affection. 9 Valentines Day Surprise. Another Valentine's Day separation loaded with exciting bends in the road comes from CafeMom.com. As per the site, Lady E. had taken a pregnancy test and realized that she was pregnant. She intended to astonish her significant other with the magnificent news upon the arrival of adoration. Valentine's Day. The other day. Nonetheless, she was the person who was in for an astonishment. The day preceding Valentine's Day, as significant other told her that he needed to track down himself and was going on a performance outing all over the planet. This didn't agree with A passionate response was normal. As indicated by She tossed the test at her significant other and cried the entire day on Valentine's Day. Assuming you are angry with your accomplice for neglecting blossoms or getting you some unacceptable sort of chocolate, perhaps think about as story and recall it isn't the case. Awful. 8 Valentines Day Prank. Not every one of Valentine's separations are very just about as emotional as Our next story depends on a center-school relationship. As you can figure from the memory of center school, it rotates around adolescence and attempting to intrigue peers. As indicated by 17.com. Carolyn of New York City was unloaded on Valentine's Day, stopping her center school sentiment. Carolyn reviews that her greatest crush needed her to be his sweetheart. Obviously, she acknowledged. Soon after, she started to send charming sparkle messages saying the amount she adored him and missed him. Possibly, she was coming on somewhat solid. Afterward, notwithstanding, it was uncovered that Carolyn's heartbreaker advised my dearest companion to let me know he was just playing a trick on me. Goodness. Center school understudies are so imaginative in tracking down ways of harming their companions. While her sweetheart was no Ashton Kutcher and his trick was not the slightest bit entertaining, we can trust that Carolyn has recuperated and would be wise to Valentine's Day since. 7 The Candyman Valentine's Day Breakup. Contingent upon your perspective, the following separation we're digging into was amusingly sweet. This separation happened to D. B. As indicated by CafeMom.com. D. B.S. story is about a sweetheart that she had in school. Tragically, it is normal for couples to separate just before Valentine's Day in secondary school and school. This is on the grounds that one of the accomplices would rather not give a gift. D. B.S. school sweetheart didn't adopt this strategy. Truth be told, he did sort of the inverse. Rather than parting ways with D. B. before Valentine's Day, he delayed until the actual day. regardless of whether it was an endeavor to mellow the blow or cause himself to appear more appealing. The man being referred to purchased D.B. blossoms and candy. Valid. Her beau was not modest. Be that as it may. Perhaps he ought to have gotten her a teddy bear as well. Like that. She could hold something while she cried. All things being equal. She had the blossoms to fill in as a token of her Valentine's Day awfulness. 6. Home-cooked breakup. Preparing a heavenly supper for an accomplice isn't just kind, there is a sort of closeness to it. Imparting plans and cooking to another accomplice can be a major advance. Nonetheless, perhaps it isn't generally the right advance. As indicated by pedestrian TV, Chloe had an untidy encounter. She felt near her sweetheart. To her desired highlight, share her widely popular spaghetti with him. As indicated by Chloe, setting up the dinner required her hours. Her sweetheart came into the loft and partook in the spaghetti, taking 2 servings. In the wake of eating, the lovebirds prepared for bed with full stomachs. Chloe says the two were sincerely spooning when he nonchalantly reports he isn't experiencing passionate feelings for me by any means. And we should just get over whatever might already be lost. What was in that spaghetti? Truly, it appears like Chloe avoided a disaster. Assuming an individual will eat 2 plates of your amazingly popular spaghetti that you went through hours planning on Valentine's Day to just part ways with you while you are spooning. What else would you be able to anticipate from them? 5. High-stakes dinner. Our next Valentine's Day separation is another culinary misfortune. Ask Man. Com investigates a remark from Reddit client u/devilized. u/devilized. Who went through an awful Valentine's Day separation too. Allegedly. He made his long-lasting sweetheart a fancy meal. He cooked handcrafted Italian bread, marinated ribeye, and steamed new green beans and carrots. All of this was served to his joined forces with music and candlelight. Sounds pretty heartfelt. Correct. As indicated by u/devilized. His sweetheart let him know a few disturbing things that evening. Obviously. She said she was at this point not totally given to me. Tries to avoid when I contact her and could part ways with me since I don't need kids. That is a great deal to take in. And we're not in any event. Thinking about the delectable supper. However, the consequences of this experience were uncertain. We can all trust that u/devilized and his new sweetheart have observed a more joyful, really satisfying relationship since. For Valentine's Day dinner without reservations. Not every person likes to cook for Valentine's Day. Assuming you intend to go out to eat with your accomplice, the smartest thought is to get a booking. Valentine's Day is perhaps the most active day of the year for some cafes. Trusting that your turn will be situated isn't a great many people's concept of a heartfelt evening. Assume you and your accomplice decide to go out for Valentine's Day without a supper reservation. All things considered, you might wind up in a similar circumstance as D.R. as indicated by Cafe Mom. Com. D.R. said she and her accomplice had been squabbling the entire day. My thought process was ordinary couple stuff. Yet chose to go out for our Valentine's Day supper. The eatery had a 45-minute pause. So we headed outside. We wound up quibbling some more. And afterward he got up and left. Without me. While this sounds like it was at that point an all-around tense circumstance, the yearning and sit tight an ideal opportunity for the cafe surely didn't help. D.R. demonstrates that she needed to observe her own ride home from the eatery by means of Uber and that her sweetheart moved out the next week. It seems like these two were perhaps currently not totally appreciating both perspectives. Yet Valentine's Day is unquestionably a tragic day for their sentiment to end. 3. The most secret admirer. Our next Valentine's Day disaster was accounted for by 17. Com. While the school isn't indicated, it appears as though this was a secondary everyday schedule sentiment. Lauren, from Denver, says that a mysterious admirer previously reached her on her telephone. She didn't have the foggiest idea about the number, and the individual would have rather not uncover their character. She was interested by this baffling admirer and proceeded to message with him. Clearly for quite a long time. The expectation developed in Lauren. She needed to know who her admirer was. At long last, he welcomed her to meet at a cafe for a pre-arranged meetup. Purportedly, Lauren was to some degree dubious and played it safe. Counting let every one of my companions know where I was proceeding to let the barista realize I was on a pre-arranged meetup. Lauren was savvy to avoid potential risk yet eager to meet her secretive, heartfelt admirer. She held up at the cafe on Valentine's Day for 30 minutes. However the admirer won't ever show. Lauren got a text from the admirer 7 days after the fact, obviously prodding her for being stood up. The character of this admirer was rarely uncovered. Tragically, I presume this might have been the admirer's expectations from the beginning. Individuals can be so mean. To not the Valentine she was expecting. Our next Valentine's Day separation is a short one from Cafe Mom. Calm. Not at all like numerous different stories. This one happens almost immediately Valentine's Day morning. K.S. Reviews that she was dating a renewed individual. And things were working out in a good way according to her point of view. The night prior to Valentine's Day, the couple rested together interestingly. As per K.S. It was somewhat abnormal. Similar to first-time sex can be. Yet fundamentally alright. It appears to be her accomplice might have had an alternate point of view. On Valentine's Day morning, she arose not to chocolates, roses, and kisses. All things considered, she got up to find a note on her end table. She had no point heard from him in the future. And the note basically said he simply wasn't feeling this. Ouch. That is certainly not the way in which Valentine's Day ought to be begun. One Valentine's Day confession. Elegance from Milwaukee lets us know our last unfortunate Valentine's Day story. 17. Com shared her story. Elegance admitted her adoration for her dearest companion on Valentine's Day. Like each of the different things on our rundown, this didn't go as she trusted. Her closest companion told her a few things. In the first place, he told her that he didn't talk about her thoughts. Then, at that point, he depicted his affections for their other shared companion. He even portrayed her as hot. Obviously, this left Grace feeling undesirable and dismissed. As indicated by Grace, she was crushed for quite a while. She has dated another person as a bounce back since. Yet it required a significant stretch of time to recuperate inwardly. Be that as it may, doesn't it make you keep thinking about whether her dearest companion was actually her companion, all things considered?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe my channel.